Dear students, in present situations, people used to say there was heavily rained, thunderstorm rain, or cyclone effect, red alert is announced, etc. The cyclone affected agriculture, transport, communication, and electricity supply. But what are cyclones? How are they formed? Why are they so destructive? In this chapter, we shall seek answers to some of these questions. Before we begin, remember that the moving air is called the wind. Recall now some of your experiences. When you fly a kite, does the wind coming from your back help? If you are in a boat, is it easier to row it if there is wind coming from behind you? Do you find it difficult to ride a bicycle against the direction of the wind? You know that we have to fill air into the bicycle tube to keep it tight. Also, you know that if a bicycle tube overfilled with air may burst. What is the air doing inside the tube? All these experiences show that the air exerts pressure. It is due to this pressure that the leaves of trees, banners, or flags flutter when the wind is blowing. Let us now try to explain why the can or the bottle gets distorted. As water is poured over the can, some steam in the can condenses into water, reducing the amount of air inside. The pressure of air inside the can decreases than the pressure exerted by the air from outside the can. As a result, the can gets compressed. This activity again confirms that air exerts pressure. We see that the increased wind speed is indeed accompanied by a reduced air pressure. Can you imagine what would happen if high speed winds blew over the roofs of buildings? If the roofs were weak, they could be lifted and blown away. Let us try to understand how winds are produced, how they bring rain, and how they can be destructive sometimes. You already know that when air moves, it is called wind. Air moves from the region where the air pressure is high to the region where the pressure is low. The greater the difference in pressure, the faster the air moves. But how are the pressure differences created in nature? Is the difference in temperature involved? Also, it is important to remember that on heating, the air expands and occupies more space. When the same thing occupies more space, it becomes lighter. The warm air is, therefore, lighter than the cold air. That is the reason that the smoke goes up. In nature, there are several situations where warm air rises at a place. The air pressure at that place is lowered. The cold air from the surrounding areas rushes in to fill its place. This sets up convection in air. Now let us study about wind currents are generated due to uneven heating on the earth. These situations are first one, uneven heating between the equator and the poles. You might have learned in geography that regions close to the equator get maximum heat from the sun. The air in these regions gets warm. The warm air rises and the cooler air from the regions in the 0 to 30 degree latitude belt on either side of the equator moves in. These winds blow from the north and the south towards the equator. At the poles, the air is colder than that at latitudes about 60 degrees. The warm air at these latitudes rises up, and the cold wind from the polar regions rushes in to take its place. In this way, wind circulation is set up from the poles to the warmer latitudes. The winds would have flown in the north south direction from north to south or from south to north. A change in direction is, however, caused by the rotation of the earth. Now, the second situation, uneven heating of land and water. In summer, near the equator, the land warms up faster, and most of the time, the temperature of the land is higher than that of water in the oceans. The air over the land gets heated and rises. This causes the winds to flow from the oceans towards the land. These are monsoon winds. The word monsoon is derived from the Arabic word mausam, which means season. In winter, the direction of the wind flow gets reversed. It flows from the land to the ocean. The winds from the oceans carry water and bring rain. It is a part of the water cycle. The monsoon winds carry water and it rains. Clouds bring rain and give us happiness. Farmers in our country depend mainly on rains for their harvests. However, it is not always a happy ending. Rains often create problems. Can you list some of the problems? Yes, flood, landslide, collapse of bridges, buildings, etc. Isn't it? In nature itself, there are certain situations that can sometimes create disasters and pose a threat to humans, animals, and plant life. So, dear students, in this class, we have studied about the wind. High speed winds are accompanied by reduced air pressure. Air expands on heating, and wind currents are generated due to uneven heating on the earth. So, we shall meet in the next class. Till then, stay safe. Bye.